From studying optometry at the University of Waterloo to now leading one of the most innovative neighborhood eye care clinics in the city, he's the owner of Eyes on Sheppard and the CEO of 3ConX. We're here with Kerry Salsberg. Let's talk business. I know that your father was the first in your family to become an optometrist. Growing up around that, what role did it play, if any, in helping shaping your passion for this?
So I knew that I wanted to be an optometrist early on, probably by grade one. And the reason being is I was part of a group of missions to Grand Cayman, to Antigua, to Moosonee up north, where he was doing charitable work for kids that needed eye care. So even at 4 or 5, I was exposed to this amazing community. And then I always heard about these stories of my dad would come home and talk about patient interactions, things that they did, restaurants that they ate at. And it was almost like having coffee with 20 people a day when he was examining patients. So I was intrigued by it. I thought this has the best of all worlds. There was a little bit of retail involved. There was helping patients, getting them to see, look, and feel better. And so there was never a doubt that I was going to be an optometrist. I really was fascinated by the profession. When my dad started, optometry as a profession wasn't recognized as it was as ophthalmology was. So he started off in a small medical practice, almost in a cubby the size of maybe a 10 by 10 room. I don't even think he had a waiting room. And slowly he grew from that location, and we've been through, in our evolution, probably about 6 locations. So we've grown from 10 by 10 to now over 10,000 square feet. He was a one-person operation and had one staff person that he hired, and now we're at 40 support staff and about 9 doctors.
Wow, it's incredible. So did having your father as a mentor ever lead to disagreements or challenges, or was the dynamic generally smooth?
I think it was pretty smooth. I think we had the same vision. We're both visionaries. We're dreamers. We believe in technology and innovation and thinking outside the box. And of course, there's always disagreements. But the friction was very minimal. And I think because we had the common goal of elevating the practice and doing the right thing for the practice, I think egos were left at the door, and I think there was an acceptance on my dad to do things a little bit different, and there was an acceptance on me to really learn from his experience.
Yeah, that's great to have someone supporting you and supporting each other for sure. So when you entered the University of Waterloo's optometry program, did that early exposure with your dad give you a head start of any kind, or did you find it just as challenging as any other student did?
Well, it was hard. I mean, I was a good student, but I wasn't an excellent student, so I really had to work at it. Now, I feel bad for your generation because you guys need like a 95 plus to get into any program. I think that because I knew what I wanted to do, and I was driven, and I was passionate about it, I think I had a head start in terms of I knew what the profession was, but there was a lot of coursework. I mean, chemistry and physics and anatomy, and so it was a challenge. But again, I was driven. So in optometry at the time, most people would do a 4-year degree, but there was a chance that you could get in after 2 years of undergraduate. So I worked my butt off to make sure that I didn't waste more time in an undergraduate degree. So luckily, I was able to get in after 2 years.
So I think something a lot of high school students struggle with is feeling the pressure to have to commit to a specific career path early on.
But I think that you have to have an open mind. I don't think any of my kids really know what they want to do, and I'm all right with that because the world is changing so fast. I want them to be committed to a profession or a business that they're really interested in, that they're passionate about, irrespective of what they can earn. Because I think nowadays, with the cost of living, everybody's chasing that almighty dollar. But I think whatever profession you choose, whatever business or career you want to embark on, I think if you're the best at it and you're passionate and you're excited about it and you live and breathe it, you can make it financially worthwhile.
Yeah, so I think for high school students, would you say that it's okay? Like from what I'm hearing, you think it's okay that they don't fully know what they want to do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they should, whether they go to college or university, or even take the year off and have a job and kind of figure out what they want to do. When I went to high school, I had grade 13, so I had an extra year to kind of figure out the lay of the land, to mature as a student. I mean, again, I knew what I wanted to do, but I think that extra year of development and really looking at the world and seeing what it has to offer, I think parents are kind of pushing when it comes to career paths, whether it's accounting or being a lawyer or a doctor. But I think the world is so vast that, you know, trades are I think a great profession to go into. And it's changing so fast that whatever a career is today may be antiquated. Nothing's sacred anymore. So I think I tell my kids I want them to be happy. I want them to really enjoy getting up in the morning and pursuing whatever they do with 100% force, with 100% vision. But it's hard. It is hard as a high schooler coming out and going, hey, what school do I go to and what do I want to be?
For sure. And I think because we're all so young too, like I think we haven't experienced life enough to try and figure out like what we want to do, what our future is. Like our future is coming so soon, and I think that stresses a lot of people out, and they end up pushing themselves in the wrong career path and following through just because everyone else is doing the same thing. Yeah. So as the owner of Eyes on Sheppard, an extremely successful neighborhood optometry clinic with over 40 staff members, you mentioned in a podcast episode with Eye Care Business Canada that you review your clinic's analytics daily. What specific insights do you focus on, and how does this data help this clinic stay competitive and deliver the best patient service possible?
Well, I think I've always been a believer, if you don't measure it, you can't manage it. So, you know, for me, Eyes on Sheppard represents a business that really is giving back to the community, helping the community. We have fun at what we do. Our goal is not to make as much money as possible. It happens through good business operations, understanding your metrics, looking at your expenses, looking at new technology to provide better care to your patients, and all of that will result in money flowing into the business. You have to have a profitable business to be in business. You know, any profession's not a hobby, so you do have to make money. But I think our focus is more on the experience and the delivery of these services. So we track areas that we may have waste. We track areas that we can probably improve on, whether it's the number of people wearing contact lenses, or the number of people going for certain treatments like dry eye treatments. There's the world in optometry is an oyster right now. We have so many opportunities, from myopia control, which is the ability to slow down the progression of myopia or nearsightedness. We have aesthetics that we've included. We have dry eye treatments, vision therapy. If your eyes are not aligned with the task that you're looking at, we have ways of correcting that. I'm here 8 hours, 9 hours a day, and I want to have fun. And so I chose a career that I'm very passionate about, and I want to provide the best care to my patients as possible. So we constantly invest in technology, but we do a SWOT analysis. We make sure that, is this technology going to yield a real world result for our patients, and is it going to be profitable?
Yeah, for sure. I think that makes total sense. A lot of businesses, I think, lack that in a way, whereas they won't check their analytics as much, maybe once a year, and then try and figure out what to do for next year. But I think what you're saying, constantly trying to improve yourself and trying to put the best possible business.
But to your point, a lot of businesses look at the rear view mirror when it comes to profitability. They meet with their accountant once a year, and their accountant says, here are the things that you need to improve, here are the things you're doing well. And our approach is looking through the front windshield. We want to be proactive in business decisions. So I track metrics even on an hourly basis, but we certainly do it on a daily and weekly basis. So if there's an anomaly, if there's something going on, we can correct it, self-correct it, and pivot, so that we don't figure out that there was a mistake, or there was theft, or there was an opportunity that we missed 6 months or 12 months in the future.
How involved are you in all these things, and how do you manage to keep this like work-life balance? Like, I know you're saying you're here for 8-9 hours. Like, are you very much constantly working, or are you trying to like balance it throughout the day?
I think that when you own a business, you are constantly working. You're working in your sleep. You're always thinking. I'm in the shower, I'm thinking about new opportunities. I do take time off. We take about 6 weeks off a year. So when I am not thinking about the business, I'm usually traveling, spending time with family. but I'm constantly thinking about the business. And for a business to be successful, I think if you rest on your laurels and you just leave it as is, you're going to be a dinosaur. You have to evolve or you'll die. So I love the retail aspect of the business. I love all the new niche services that we can offer. But I can't micromanage it, to your point. I can't micromanage it. And I used to. When I was early on, I wanted to be in control of everything. I have to delegate. So I have 2 managers. I have team leads, whether it's in pre-testing or contact lenses or in glasses or in doctor services. So that's been hard for me to kind of let go and delegate. But that brings out the best in people, and then they have ownership of the business and they can self-manage. And obviously, major decisions come to me, but I want to empower my staff so that they can make changes, and because they're front lines, they know stuff that I don't know. And by empowering them, they can elevate the business and make changes that are going to make the business even better.
Yeah, that makes total complete sense. I mean, I think it's hard, and I think that starting a business or even running a business, also, like you said, you're constantly thinking about it. I mean, starting it off, like, when you were younger, like, did you have to put in a lot of sacrifice, or were you able to not have as much sacrifice?
I think you have to sacrifice certain things. You know, for a business to be successful, I think any business person that has run, whether it's Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates, there are some sacrifices, and you have to judge whether those sacrifices are worth it. But if you don't put in the effort, you're just not going to yield the results. I think to surround yourself with good people that have the same vision, that are on the same bus as you, makes it a lot easier. But you got to work hard in this world. Nothing comes easy. There's no free lunches, and but if you're going to put in that effort, you better enjoy what you do.
Amazing. So you've also mentioned in other interviews that everyone needs to invest in themselves. How can someone tell if what they're pursuing is worth investing in, or is it just a leap of faith?
Well, I think, again, if you're chasing the almighty dollar, eventually you're going to burn out. I think it's important that you wake up in the morning and you're excited about going to work. Now, there are days that I'm not excited about going to work because I've had challenges in the past. We had a break-in, or we have a staff member that left, or we have a doctor that's sick. But for the most part, if you can wake up and feel that you're serving the public or doing something that you absolutely love, and you can leave with that same feeling, then you've chosen the right career. But it's all right to make a mistake. I mean, there's so many people now that have multiple careers in their lifetime. Gone are the days where you work for the Bay, well, the Bay's no longer, for 30, 40 years and get a golden watch. You're pivoting all the time. So I think that while life is short, it's long when it comes to a career. And I think if you are wasting time and looking at a retirement and chasing after that retirement, you're in the wrong business, you're in the wrong profession. So very difficult to navigate, but I think you have to kind of look within and say, am I happy doing this? And when I come home, am I happy interacting with my family, or do I bring work home with me?
Yeah, and I think it's okay if you're not going in that societal standard and you're not following the normal path that people would. I think sometimes people get a little scared when you're not doing things that they're comfortable with and that they've seen so many others do, and I think it's okay, and everybody finds their way and finds what they're passionate about in different ways.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that.
Yeah. So I want to shift gears for a moment. I think we can all say that COVID-19 was extremely difficult for everyone, especially the businesses. How did you manage to keep the business side of your clients afloat during a time when so much was shut down? Was it a major setback?
Well, listen, it wasn't easy, and I think we saw the storm clouds approaching. We realized what was going on in the rest of the world, so we were a little bit more proactive. We set up our business online, so contact lens orders, glasses could all be done online and then sent out via courier. We had staff working from home, answering phones. And actually, we learned to work smarter, and a lot of the things that we ended up doing during COVID, we've applied even now post-COVID. So our business practices are different. We were doing telemedicine. We were dealing with patients over the phone or on the internet. We were doing a ton of Zoom meetings. So conferences that were really popular pre-COVID, now we can do a lot of that stuff online. But it was a challenge. Our revenues net went down probably by 50%. We were closed for, it's a distant memory now, but I think a good 3 months or probably even more. But it was an opportunity. So we were looking at a new place to build Eyes on Sheppard. And so while we were closed, we were able to build this practice within 3 months. And so while we were shut down, so we used the opportunity as much as we could. But I wouldn't want to go through that again. I mean, that was a big challenge. And I think beyond just the revenue impact, just the psychology of COVID and the anxiety that our patients had and our staff had about what was going on in the world. Now, what we did is we instituted air purification system. We have UV sanitizers. We have wash stations. So we were sensitive about that, and we actually advertised that when people were coming back to the office that this was as safe as possible. But yeah, I never want to go through that again.
Yeah, I think it's definitely was very hard for businesses, but I think more specifically health businesses, like any kind of doctor's office or anything. I think it's harder to try and get your patients on a Zoom meeting and trying to figure out their symptoms over call. It's a lot more difficult, and again, you're right, very stressful time and very anxious, especially for students as well, trying to keep up with work and then coming back to school and having that struggle to go back into that normal routine.
But you know what, I look at my kids and they went through that, but I also realized the resiliency that they had. It was a crappy time for them, but they were able to get out safely and keeping their sanity. But it was a big problem for a lot of patients going back into the healthcare system, masked up, shields, hands, gloves, dishwasher gloves on. So as we've gone out of that period, I see a little bit more sensibility and people are a little bit more relaxed. But yeah, that did a lot of damage at the time.
Yeah, for sure. So you're also the CEO of 3ConX. Can you tell us a little bit about what the platform does and what it inspired you to take on another business venture while also running Eyes on Sheppard?
So I always look at deficiencies and opportunities. How do we make the patient experience a little bit better? So what 3ConX does is it's a patient portal that does automated recall and appointment reminders. It gives out satisfaction surveys. So we wanted to automate that, especially during COVID. We can connect with our patients. And then we can also supply them with information about their specific condition. So my brother and I and a team of software engineers created this, one of the first of its kind. This is probably about 15 years ago. And from there, we went into digital signage, some of the signs that you see here, patient review software. So we're always thinking about how can we make that patient experience better, and is there something in the marketplace that can do that? And we've come across a couple of ideas that we've implemented, and it's been great because I think a lot of patients appreciate that we can remind them of their appointments. So our no-show rate is maybe 1%. So that means that when you book an appointment, we're almost guaranteed that you're going to show up because we send you the reminders to let you know. And before that, we used to have to phone patients or send out postcards. So we've saved money on staff costs and on mailing costs. And again, the results speak for itself. We have a 1% no-show rate. So that means that when you have an appointment, you actually show up. And I think patients appreciate that too. We send them texts or email reminders. And yeah, I think we're working on something right now where we use AI to create virtual receptionists. So one of the hardest things right now is finding staff that want to work, that want to be on the phone. So we've outsourced a lot of our phone staff to countries like South Africa, Latin America, but now we're using AI technology to have virtual phone assistants. So we could have 100 calls coming in and they'll be answered by a virtual assistant. And that will save us money on staff costs, but also increase the patient experience so they don't have to get a busy signal or phone back or leave a message.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. I mean, have you been using AI in anything else other than this?
That's our first foray, but we're going to have chatbots on our website, so you can actually interact with a person any time of the day, order contact lenses, make an appointment, find out how to get to the office.
Yeah.
So I think looking at technology and how it's placed in other industries, you can take some of those ideas and apply it to any business. And so you just have to be on the lookout. You have to keep your eyes open. In terms of retail, a lot of the retail ideas that you see here are based on trips overseas in Europe, Japan, and looking at restaurants. How do they increase the patient experience? Looking at retail. And so we've borrowed a lot of those ideas and placed them here. And I think it's important in any business. Again, if you just say, I have a formula and I'm going to just coast, that will last 6 to 12 months, but you have to reinvent yourself. Otherwise, you're stagnant, and patients or consumers' mindset is that they want the next shiny thing. And if you're not that shiny anymore, they'll move on.
Like, it's just everybody's trying to always be the best, and sometimes when
I think it's great. I think it's always, I mean, that challenges us. When we see competition, we learn from our competition, we understand what we need to do, and we kind of better ourselves. So I think it's great that there's competition. I think that it's great that there's online players in the contact lens space. It makes us better.
Yeah, but I think it kind of references what you were saying earlier about how if you're only doing it for the money and you're just constantly just trying to make more and more money, you soon get burnt out.
Get burnt out and you will fail.
Yeah.
You have to lead with value, you have to lead with experience, and if you can heighten that experience and get patients talking about you or consumers talking about you, then it's a wonderful position to be in.
Yeah, for sure. So does balancing both Eyes on Sheppard and 3ConX ever become challenging?
Always challenging because you're pulled in many different directions. But I've empowered a team of people that I trust with business decisions, and we often have meetings once a week or sometimes twice a week. So I know what they're doing, they know what I'm doing. And again, you can't be everything to everybody. And if you're a CEO in so many different industries, you will get burnt out. So you just have to delegate and empower people to do what they're supposed to do, and hopefully it gets done. And again, I love being a serial entrepreneur. I love business. I love developing businesses. But again, there's only 24 hours in the day. You have family time, you have business time, you have patient time. So you can't be everything to everybody. So it's important to surround yourself with good people that can get those tasks done.
For sure. So what's one piece of advice you would give high school students who want to incorporate business into their future careers, especially something that they can start doing now while in high school?
I think there's so many opportunities with online and TikTok and Instagram, using AI to create programs. I think also having mentorship. Get your hands dirty. If you want to go into the restaurant business, start washing dishes.
Yeah.
Start, bussing around and being a waiter. You got to understand from top to bottom.
Yeah.
I think that's super important is to get your hands wet and learn the tools of the trade. If you want to go into construction, start putting up drywall. Again, I think that there's a tendency for a younger generation to look at people that are traveling the world on TikTok and driving Lamborghinis and spending all their Bitcoin money, but that's a facade. I mean, I'm sure it happens, but nothing comes easy. So I think experience matters. Getting dirty and looking at all facets of a business is super important. It'll carry you forward in ways that, starting to build a house without any experience, you're going to fail. So I think it's important to, and also come away with, if you don't like it, doesn't mean that you have to pursue that career. You can test the waters.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like dating. If you date one person and decide that that's the girl that you're gonna marry, I mean, you want to be happy in life.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that what you're pursuing brings you joy, that you can dream a bigger dream in that industry, and if you can't, and if you're frustrated by it, move on.
Yeah. Do you think that you should be enjoying everything you do in your specific career, or do you think it's okay if you don't? Because I feel sometimes you may not like certain aspects or certain things that you do, but in general you may love the career, you just have certain things you don't specifically love.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you don't like managing people, then delegate, get a manager to do that. concentrate on the thing that you like doing. For example, I have doctors here that do specific things in optometry, whether it's dry eye disease or myopia management or aesthetics or low vision or vision therapy. They love it. They that's what they want to do. So I'm more of a generalist. I see patients from 0 to 100, but a lot of doctors want to focus on niche things, and if you don't enjoy it, get somebody else to do it.
Yeah. I think that it's definitely, I think sometimes also as well, like if you don't like something, it might just be because it's hard, you know?
Yes, relationships are hard. Working 9 to 5 or longer is hard. But if at the end of the day you're not getting that I've accomplished something, I've given something to the community, and I've received payment for it, and that doesn't bring you joy, then again, you don't want to be in a career for 40 years unhappy. And yes, life is hard. It's not all sunshine and rainbows and unicorns. But if you can have perspective and piecemeal the stuff that is within your control and the stuff that's not in your control, I think you have a better balance in terms of what will make you happy.
My final question for you is, what is a Jewish value that you hold that you think was critical to your success?
I think being part of the community, having a moral and ethical framework in terms of the business decisions that I make, tzedakah, giving back to patients, helping patients, making patients feel good about themselves, whether it's the way they see, the way they look, the way they feel. A sense of community in terms of the staff that I work with, respecting work-life balance, and having a belief system that reflects our core values. I think it really is, I've taken away from Judaism and what being Jewish means to me. I think it's super important that besides gaining financial rewards, that you're providing a service that patients want, that people want, that you're respecting their value system, that you're curious with patients, that you listen, which is super important, and you treat people as equals and your staff as equals, and to treat these lifelong relationships that I've created with patients for the last 30 years, they're part of my family. My staff is part of my family. And I think that as much as you can have disagreements, the greater good is to learn how to relate with each other, to talk with each other, and to follow the same path. And I think if you have that, you're going to have a successful business.
I think that's definitely something that people lose, is their values and their own morals. And I think in Judaism we can learn so much from it. We can learn so much about the beauty of morals and the beauty of having everyone on the same level. And I think sometimes people struggle with that. And like you've been saying, and like we've been saying throughout this podcast, is you don't want to go in it for the wrong reasons. You want to make sure you're holding on to your morals and your values.
I think it's important. I think when it comes to staff, you want to pay your staff a fair living wage. You want them to be happy. Businesses of old were, I'm the boss and I'm going to talk down to you and I'm going to treat you as a second-class citizen. Whereas in our business, we kind of elevate our staff. I'm secondary. I want my staff to be happy. I want them to come to work with great enthusiasm, and I want them to feel that they're contributing, and I want them to feel that there's psychological safety, so they know that if they make a mistake, it's all right. We're going to learn from that. I don't want them to feel that they're berated or they have a fear of losing their job because they made a mistake. And I think that's what gives me a lot of joy, is that patients and staff come in here and they come in eager to work, to contribute, and to feel part of a family. And that's a rarity, especially with COVID. We were so isolated. We didn't have any real social interactions. So when people come in here and you can share, life moments, and you can compliment people and they feel special and they feel needed and wanted, it's a remarkable feeling.
Yeah, that's incredible. And good for you for holding on to your own Jewish morals and for staying true to your values. Incredible.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today and for letting us come and interview you. It's been incredible.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course.